So, part 5 of my series about waking up and realizing that you've been living with a covert narcissist for 6 or 7 years. You didn't know it. I had no idea that this was what was going on, and it was only through my own therapy and the therapist recognizing it. They can't diagnose him because he's not present. It's a DSM-5 diagnosis and can only be made by a professional, but a professional can recognize the symptoms and the signs that are occurring in the victim of this. And by this time, understand that I have been accused of being a narcissist myself for so long that actually the reason I sought this therapy was I wanted to get an assessment to see if I truly was a narcissist. No, I'm not. I'm actually a type 2 helper personality for anybody who understands that personality anagram and whatever. I'm like the opposite of a narcissist, which makes sense that I would attract narcissists. But I didn't know this guy was a narcissist. A covert narcissist doesn't give you the same indications that a raging, malignant narcissist or overt narcissist does. For example, the love bombing was completely different. It wasn't anything in my face or overt. I wasn't receiving flowers and phone calls and, it wasn't that kind of attention. It was a different kind of attention. It was subtle. And when it started to erode and started to fade, it took me a minute to realize that I was being emotionally abandoned. And then to the point that when he saw that this abandonment was hurtful to me, my pain made him angrier, and he thought I was using it to manipulate him. And then he turned around and started weaponizing this against me and doing this on purpose and to control. It was just a matter of power and control. And boy, make sure that I believe that I'm the bad guy and he's the victim. And that really got drilled into my head. So anyway, we're at the very end of this, and we're separated, and he's gone to a different country. And he lies to me. I tell him the night before we leave, I didn't want him to go in the first place. And I say the night before he goes, I said, do you understand that I'm terrified that you're going to abandon me here? I'm in a foreign country. I'm by myself. I can't handle the things here long term that I've got to handle on this farm. I'm disabled. I can't do this. Do you understand that you need to reassure me that you're coming back? And he nods and yeah, I get it. Well, the next day he asked me to drive him into town to catch the bus, where he was staying at an Airbnb. He didn't even fly to his home country. He flew to a completely different country. And he messaged me from that different country. And the message was like, I'm like, are you coming back? Because, yeah, by this time I'm broken. And I'm not defending myself. Yeah, I was needy and broken. And I've been gaslighted for years. And abandoned a couple of times already. And he came back. And so here I am crying and asking him if he's going to come home. And he says, for now, I'm in this other country. I'm going to sort my problems out. No reassurance whatsoever. And he wasn't even where he was supposed to go. And he had known this and lied to me so that I would give him a ride into town, knowing he wasn't coming back. And knowing that he wasn't going to give me the reassurance I had asked for. So I blocked him on that messenger and social media. And then I established other means of contact through email and through different... Immediately. It's not like I blocked him and ignored him. I immediately went to these other forms of social media contact. I was ghosted for almost 6 months. I couldn't get him. I tried several times to message him. I knew we were coming to a head with the situation on the property here. And I kept trying to get him. I would nudge him and poke him here. No response whatsoever. It took me having a friend to intervene before he would even bother to respond to me. And then what as it turns out, the way the business is set up, we're 50-50. And both signatures have to go on a transfer of acreage or whatever. Well, no, he wasn't coming back here. He made it clear he wasn't coming back here. So then I asked for temporary limited power of attorney just for this one thing. And he could do that from where he was. He has a notary there. And he could do that for temporary power of attorney for one thing. One thing. Limited. He never answered that. We were starting to talk about some other solutions. And then I got a very, very heartbreaking email from our investors saying that they love working with me, but they don't trust him. And if he's part of the deal, they want nothing to do with it because he's a liar and has practiced deception right in front of them. So when I received that letter, that ended the communication. He refused to talk to me after that. And I've skipped a step, but I kind of wanted to give you the overview. Right before that happened, he asked me what was the situation between me and one of the investors, because he didn't like the way that I had used some of the same terminology that this investor had used. And it seemed to him like me and that investor were talking a lot. Well, duh. We've been planning this whole thing for months. So then he takes it upon himself to basically pull an Ona and basically pulled what that whole bunch of trolls did on me. And I know y'all are being nice to me now, and believe me, I appreciate that, and I am never going to come after you, never going to hurt you. We're going to have a truce, and we're going to be fine. But you got to admit, y'all were coming after me hard. Well, he did the same thing to this other guy, just on a very short-term thing. He pulled up every bit of stuff he could find. We had to end up paying for a background check to prove to my covert narcissists that this man was not a criminal. That's humiliating. You know, and that's uncalled for. And I mean, it proved it. Yes, there are cases, there are litigation. You've got a man who's doing transactions all the time. Most of the cases were, he was the plaintiff. He's had some false accusations, cases dismissed, cases won, and lawsuits won against the people who were bringing these accusations. Okay? But my covert narcissist was not happy until he had dragged this man every which direction through the mud. Trying to prove what? To prove what? It made him angry that somebody was helping me. Now, there's no way that you can tell me that. See, that's what set this whole thing off. When I realized that this person who I trusted was angry because other people were helping me instead of kicking me when I was down. They were actually going to help me. He did everything he could to sabotage the agreement, and he succeeded. He sabotaged it. It's done. It's dead. It's dead in the water. Everything, every contract, everything that we had planned so far, they have walked away from it because they don't want to deal with him. They see through it. And so I knew right then. Now, let me just interject and say we've come up with some other solutions. And I've got a video about that, so life's not over. But the thing about it is that who would do that? So when I talked to him after that, I said, I need to talk to you again tonight. This is terrible. This is a terrible situation. And we need to talk about this. You signing over temporary limited power of attorney so I can proceed with this. I never heard another word from him.